kids do not come to school on an equal playing field. The gap between kids who have and those who don't is alarming. Some children have stable housing, good food, regular health care, and excellent educational opportunities, and many do not. Our gaps are some of the worst in the nation. Educators and community members want to do everything they can during the school day to make sure that all kids learn, no matter their family's income, social status, immigration status, or race. What are you going to do to address structural inequalities that surround our schools? What will you do to close gaps in housing, healthcare, hiring practices, and opportunities for all youth and families? Please talk in specifics. The first candidate to answer this question will be Ian Alexander.
Just the question I wanted. This one goes back to what I was saying before about economic empowerment. You can't have, let me take a step back. When I first decided to open up my small law office, I actually was on West Broadway. And I remember someone came into the office one time and they said something I'll never forget. They said, my brother's in jail. My mother's in jail. I don't know my dad, but he's in jail. And my sister is in juvie. And I looked at him and I said, well, who are you staying with? And he said, well, I'm staying with my aunt, but she's going to be called back into jail. And I said, she broke her rule. And I said, well, this kid was living in a very dysfunctional environment. And what got me was after talking to this kid, and I still see him every once in a while, it's that this became his normality. This was normal. And when you walk down West Broadway, that is not normal. And so what you deal with, when you deal with education issues, you have to deal with all of the North Side in a holistic way. You have to look at how are we going to affect the overall economic climate on the North Side. And you can't go about it in small ways. I mean, the reality is that when you go down to Heritage Park, whether you like Heritage Park or not, it was a very large undertaking by a very large development company. And when you look at West Broadway, for example, and again, I think Long said it best, that these are things that have been discussed now for 35 years. You have to actually take a step back. You actually have to get a number of people on board, and you actually have to come up with a implementation strategy and get it done. Is it going to be easy? No. But you're going to have to trust whomever your next city council member is to have the ability to work with different groups of people that may not like each other and different organizations that may distrust each other to get things done. And I believe I have that ability to get things done and change the overall economic climate and therefore make the educational environment a better one. Thank you.
Thank you. The next candidate to answer this question will be Brett Buckner. You have 2 minutes.
When a child enters kindergarten, graduates 12th grade, over 80% of their time is spent not in the classroom, but in the community. City Council has to be a major partner with the school board, with the community organizations, with the faith-based organizations, to ensure that learning is taking place at all times, that we are learning together. This is a communal issue. This is a communal standard and expectation that has to be changed, that we all start to say this one thing: we all will learn, regardless of where you're at. Stabilization of the home is critical, and that takes the start of having economic development within your area, but it's also a belief that we all can learn, regardless of your circumstance. Talking to Ms. Harpo earlier about what she was able to do with the Bethune kindergarten, the first all-day kindergarten that took place in the city of Minneapolis, led by Richard Green. They believe that the kids can learn because she basically said, y'all gonna learn. And that's what they did. We will learn together. Everybody has a role. When I'm elected, everybody, all 30,000 of us, will have a responsibility to mentor one of our youth, to make sure that they have a safe place to be, that they have somewhere that they're projected out to be. Again, I was the former AmeriCorps Promise Fellow with Colin Powell's organization. We believe in these 5 principles. When we realized, when we got those 5 principles in, safe place, healthy start, mentor, place to serve, that these kids flew. We have to believe again that our kids can achieve. We will cut the employment and the education gaps. Actually, we're going to cut all the gaps in 4 years. And we're going to be able to we'll have the numbers to prove it.
Thank you.
Right.
Next candidate to answer this question will be Blong Yang. You have 2 minutes.
I will not promise that we're going to close these gaps in 4 years, but we're going to make a dent. And here's the thing, Madam Moderator, I'd like an extension of about another 2 hours to answer the whole question fully. But yeah, well then I will just do my best to try to go really fast on this issue. I'm committed to making North Minneapolis a leader in education. And here's the thing, in the Minneapolis Public Schools, we have one of the best high schools in the country in Southwest High School, and then we have North High School, which is struggling. And I know my buddy here, Kale, is trying to make it work and make it better, but I mean, I think the contrast really just tells the story for us. And here's the thing, also, I have 2 young kids who go to the Minneapolis Public Schools. One goes to Lucy Lane, the other goes to 3 schools at the old North Star building. And I'm a product of the public schools myself, and I know that the public schools can be successful, and I really have faith that they will be successful for my kids, and I want them to be very successful for all the kids here in North Minneapolis, because we deserve it, and we need it more than anybody else. The thing with this situation here in North Minneapolis is this: 1 in 3 Martin students goes to suburban school. I think the numbers are pretty close for African American children as well, and I think we, as a Minneapolis Public Schools area, need to work our butts off to bring these kids back to the schools, cater these schools to these kids' needs so that these kids want to go to these schools. And we need to work really hard at that, because if we don't work hard at that, I mean, addressing any adult gap doesn't work. And the other thing I just want to really just say is this: when we talk about the achievement gap, that puts the onus on the kids who are failing, but really, let me just say the adults are the ones who are failing these kids. This is an opportunity gap, and as Kale just said a little bit earlier, I mean, if we're going to fire people, I mean, we should fire the people who get paid the big bucks to solve these issues, not the kids.
Thank you, Blong. Finally, we'll have Kale Simpson.
I got to circle back real quick. I forgot something about policing. There's an initiative out there for policing that they have to carry their own insurance. So if they're beating on our people and they're being sued, that the city pays us, we stop paying for the lawsuits that are coming and the police have to pay them. And then they get dropped off their insurance and can no longer have a job because they keep beating on people. All right, on education, sorry I got to go fast because I could spend hours on this one. I disagree with Blong on the fact that North High is struggling. If you check out our numbers just came out. I flew to Chicago, I flew to New York to try to find a good program that will fit our community, the people that live in our community. And if you look, the Institute for Student Achievement, our freshmen, we only have 1 test because they take the writing test the freshman year. Our kids scored 71%, okay? That's closing the achievement gap. The district is at 72%, okay? So we are competing with Southwest. So we are doing the right things at North High School, and them are factual numbers I'm throwing out. You can look them up, okay? So we are doing the right things at North High School. The other thing is the leadership is right at Minneapolis Public Schools. I firmly believe that Superintendent Johnson is the right woman to help move us forward. She's doing a great job at North High School. That's fine. That's fine. I also believe that we got good school board members. Kim Ellison is doing an outstanding job. Dick Mammon and Rebecca Gagnon. We have built up relationships. But the thing that we need to do is, you got to really understand that that's your school board members, this is city council. We have to hold our school board responsible, just like we got to hold the city council responsible. So instead of doing the white flight and deciding, I'm going to send my kid to Wayzata, I'm going to send my kid to North High School, and then I'm going to hold the people at North High School accountable to make sure my kids are being educated as well as the kids out at Wayzata. We gotta stop the white flight, and that circles back to community schools. We have people, we gotta send people back to our schools. We're gonna lose all of our assets, our buildings are closed. No one wants to move to North Minneapolis because there's not schools open to send it. People can't send their kids, they can't walk to school no more because what do we got,